Hello,
Yes,
hello.
we are live, episode 2, aka Reckless Thoughts Podcast. Cribs, we made it, episode 2 already.
We made it. We made it. I mean, I'm barely here. I got had a wisdom tooth extraction this week, so
Oh,
bear with
yeah.
me. But I could not give up on my audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, man. Everybody's been praising some good praises, during the first week. So I'm very happy with everything how it turned out. So we couldn't, not do a show this week. We could have, but it's okay. The people want to hear us. They obviously loved episode 1, so we're gonna give them an episode 2. We're gonna give them Super Bowl recap this week. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Valentine's Day or single awareness, however you want to look at it. But Cribs, how was the weekend?
Oh man, so my weekend was actually pretty dope. I went camping for the first time in my life
Mm-mm.
ever. No,
Will,
no.
will you ever do it again?
I will. I do want to try
Mm.
again, but I want to try again in the summer. Winter camping is not for me.
Oh, that's
That
right. It was chilly.
chilly. It was freezing.
Now I know people that are listening from either up north or stuff are probably like these assholes, right? Because we're in Florida and stuff like that. But I mean, temperatures reach, 42, 43, give or take, and
Yeah. It
it's
was
cold.
40, it was 40 degrees and I was in the middle of the fucking woods and it was raining on top of that. So it was like a rainy weekend. And yeah, no, it was just not my vibe. Like we kept trying to put the fire was going out, it wasn't warm. We were trying to all hang out in like the tents, but
Yeah.
the rain was coming slanted and sideways, so we were still getting wet. So it was like whatever. And then when we go to hide in the tent, some people were like, no, I want to be one with nature. The other people were like, no, I want to be in the tent. And I was just like, you know what? I'm so over this.
Yeah.
Like, I will come back in summer when there is crystal clear water and I am sweating.
You can't pay me enough to go camping. I hate camping. For those that know me, know that I hate camping, and it's not because I haven't tried it. I've tried it way too many times, and it's always a shitty story, and literally a shitty story. Like it's just, and I've done it only in Colombia. I've only camped in Colombia. I've camped once, like a little Boy Scout thing that I did once, and for like a weekend, and after that, I was like, nah, I'm good. But I can't do it. I don't know. It's the whole like sleeping on the rocks or like on the floor. It's the whole like waking up and not being able to shower and not being able to like, really like I don't know. Like I'm very like hygienic, so I'm just like,
Yeah. No, definitely like I didn't know what to expect. So I was like super worried when they told me like, oh, there's not going to be any signal. The bathrooms are going to
right,
be like far, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck, dude. Like I'm very, I'm not bougie, but like I'm
yeah,
definitely like a city girl, you know, like I
yeah,
was born and raised in Miami. So I'm used to having everything like near me. So we end up getting a camping site that's like semi close to the bathroom. It was like maybe like a good 500 feet of walking, right?
mhm,
And I wake up in middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and I had to take a piss. I'm like, yo, I need to use the bathroom. What do I do? I'm not about to walk in these dark ass woods by myself at night, not knowing what's gonna jump at me, like, whatever. At this point, my air mattresses, because it was so cold that the air mattress weren't holding the air. So at this point, my air mattress is almost already to the floor. So I am sleeping on the ground and I need to pee. So I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to go for it. So I put on this big
right.
ass hoodie and I start like like trying to make it to the bathroom. And yeah, no, it was an experience. Shout out to all my friends that were there. They really tried to make it as comfortable as they could for me, because everybody knew that I was like freaking out and my
Yeah,
anxiety was like awful. But I made it. I came back, and then as soon as I came back, I came for surgery. So here we are. Well, actually, as
crazy.
soon as I came back, I went straight to Super Bowl party, and then the next day my surgery. So
Look at that. Look at that. So you haven't had really a good chance to see the love, a lot of the love that we were getting throughout the days and stuff like that. So shout outs to everybody who tuned into episode 1. We really are extremely happy with a lot of the positive notes. A lot of feedback I gotten. Um, Cribsy, man, you got a lot of crushes, man. A lot of people are like, yo, who's this chick? This and that. So I'm just saying,
that's
I'm saying.
hilarious. Hit me up. I'm single. What's
Oh,
up?
there you go. There you go. We'll put the handles in a little bit later today. And actually, go ahead and share your handles there for everybody.
Yeah. So my personal IG, you guys want to follow me? It's at crib_ZZEE. It's just easier for people to pronounce my name. So yeah, you
Yes,
catch me on that.
for sure. For me, follow me on Twitter. It's easy, reckless824. Right. On Instagram, it's a little bit more difficult. I made it difficult to be found. But if you want to follow me, it's at LXNDRZPT 824. That's my whole name without the vowels, 824. So you can follow me on there as well. So
If you're dyslexic, it's easier to remember this because yeah.
for sure, for sure. All right, so let's get into it. Cribs, we've got a Super Bowl champion. We've got the Los Angeles Rams, boo, as your new NFL champions, Super Bowl 56. And what a game. What a fun game it was. It definitely wasn't a blowout, and I'm glad it wasn't a blowout, so I'll say that right now. But it could have been ugly. It could have been ugly. But, we'll talk more about the game. Let's just do a little quick recap. So basically, the Rams come out and they score first. Cincinnati goes on a 4 and out. They weren't able to convert on a 4th down play in midfield and gives the Rams the opportunity to score that first touchdown. And then the Bengals ended up kicking a field goal on it wasn't really controversial. A lot of people don't talk about it, but in the first half, Jalen Ramsey was holding on to one of the players and it wasn't called. So the Bengals had to settle for a field goal. 7-3. The Rams come back. They score another touchdown. They make it 13-3 because they missed the field goal. They botched the hold and make it a 13-3 game, which I when that happened, I was like,
insane.
This is gonna come back somehow. Like this whole 10-point game instead of an 11-point game is gonna be big because it doesn't force Cincinnati to force a 2-point conversion at any point in the game. So Cincinnati was able to make it a 13. I believe it was a 13-6 or 13-10 game at halftime, I believe. I forget.
Yeah, I
Right?
think it was 13-10 because there was a bet on the spread for 4 points.
There you go. So it was like a 13-10, halftime. We'll talk about the halftime show, towards the end of everything, because I think it was one of the greatest halftime shows of all time. But, I regress on that. But OBJ tears an ACL, unfortunately. It's time to get rid of the turf field. I mean, NFL, get rid of the turf field.
Yes, 1,000%. I don't understand why that's still a thing. And well, let's just give OBJ his props. He did come out and he did what he had to do, in the first half. So shout out to him. And God, it just sucks that.
I know you were definitely rooting for him, to have like a big game, and he was on pace to becoming a potential Super Bowl MVP. The way he was playing, he looked amazing. Now, there was an interesting stat, I wanted to mention to you, in the NFC Championship game, that was Odell's first 100-yard game since 2019. That is interesting to me. I'm sure in the future we'll revisit, with the free agent market, in a different episode, we'll touch base a lot on who's being seen and whatnot. But that's scary to me because a lot of people want to say that Odell Beckham is still this guy and stuff like that. And first 100-yard game was in the NFC Championship in 2022. I mean, that's scary to me. And I know he was having a pretty good game here in the Super Bowl, but then he tears his ACL. It's like, man, this is not good for a guy who's, in his 30s now. Like life expectancy in the NFL just keeps getting shorter and shorter, right? I mean, we had Des Bryant who looked really good at one point, and now he's a no-namer. AJ Green, nowhere to be really seen. Julio Jones is starting to fall into that decline. Is Odell Beckham's time coming up? And again, I'm sure we'll revisit that sooner or later. But, we'll continue on with the recap. The Bengals end up scoring first in the second half and a huge touchdown, another missed call by the refs where Jalen Ramsey was pulled by the face mask and turned out to be a huge touchdown. It seemed like the angle is what had the ref not call it because he didn't see it from the angle that he was in. But obviously, when you watch the replays, it's there. Again, NFL, it's time to, get New York or somebody involved, where they say, kind of like in soccer where they say, hey, there's a potential foul that you missed and it's a big foul, because that's game changing. It's just game changing. You just can't allow things like that to happen anymore in the NFL. So that's one. And then the Bengals are up. They get an interception. They get 2 interceptions on Matthew Stafford. We'll talk more about that in a little bit as well. and the Bengals have a huge lead. And I'm thinking this game's over, right? This game, Bengals are going to win this game. And then the Rams just end up coming back. We'll touch base on what happened at the end of the game, a little bit more. But then the controversial moment was the last drive. The Rams, go out there on a 3rd and goal. It seems like Cooper Kupp gets defended very well by the linebacker of the Bengals, and a penalty was thrown. Makes it 1st and goal. It's still then a touchdown. Yeah, and then there was another couple penalties called. It was just a lot of things that just, if you're watching the NFL for the first time, if you're watching the Super Bowl game, you're like, how is this game not rigged? Or how is this like kind of fair? I don't understand. They didn't call anything in the first half, first 3 quarters, and then this happened.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was sitting there and I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna, like, at some point I was like, okay, so then maybe we're just not gonna call anything this game, like just free for all. Let's see like what goes down.
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with.
But then the 4th quarter comes and flags are flying, and I'm like, and now, I mean, not to sound biased, but like, they're flying for one specific team. So then I'm like, it's a little fishy,
Now the crazy thing was that 3rd and goal creates a 1st and goal, right? And the next play, Cooper Kupp catches a touchdown, but he gets hit by one of the defensive players helmet to helmet. There was it's almost like the refs said, we're going to give you the 1st down, right? It's a soft call, but we'll give you the 1st down. But on the next play, we'll definitely call holding, because there's holding about 95% of the time in the NFL. So they wouldn't call the holding and push you back an extra 10 yards to see if you can. But we're going to give you the 4 tries. But because of the helmet to helmet, it negates that situation. You can't call holding a 2nd time in a row, because then you start really looking fishy. It just seems like it was going that route. Again, I'm not trying to say the game's rigged. I would hate to ever believe the game is rigged. But my God, how do you call that? Like, I don't know. It's tough, but the Rams get the win. Joe Burrow wasn't able to do anything.
Which also was very sad. Like, I really, I guess, optimist in me was like, okay, there's 1 minute and 29 seconds left on this clock. Like, if this is the moment, this is the moment. Like, this is where you prove, like, okay, this is, how we made it here. Right. And I mean, obviously Rams defense was, stepped up, and they've been one of the better defenses, but it was quite sad to not see it, flourish to a better, not to mention that I had a bet placed on the over. And if they would have scored that touchdown, I would have won. But, whatever. No big deal, Burrow.
No big deal.
Thanks for nothing.
Well, and again, it goes back to that whole thing. Like, it's like, is the NFL making sure that the games are as close as possible to make it more dramatic, to make it more, it's a business, right? I mean, look, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I know a lot of people make fun of me because they're like, oh, it's fake and this and that. And I'm like, I get it's fake, but there's a reason why it's a multi-billion-dollar business, and those storylines, if in real life, if you can make a reality show look as drama as possible, those shows make a lot of money. Those reality shows are being watched on a constant level, and the NFL is the greatest reality show in my mind, or sports in general is the greatest reality show in my mind. So if you could tweak the reality show to make it as much drama as possible, I mean, I can see the NFL refs saying, hey, we got to make this a little closer. We got to, maybe swing it a little bit, and I don't know. I hate to assume that it's rigged, but a lot of people feel this way. I know Rams fans don't feel this way at all, but Bengals fans, like, my heart's with you. Like, oh my God, I would be so depressed if I'm a Bengals fan, seeing the way you just basically got the game taken away from you. It's tough to lose that game. But I did call it. The defensive line of the Rams made huge adjustments in the second half to take out the Bengals. Raheem Morris, shout outs to him. I mean, he really stepped up as a defensive coordinator, make some great second half adjustments to get to Burrow. I was amazed because Burrow was getting rid of the ball so quickly and stuff like that. But
we got some stats on that, right? He got sacked 7 times. That's insane.
A record. It's a record. That's crazy.
I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to somebody that's like outside looking in, like, you make it to the Super Bowl and you get sacked 7 times.
And it's not like he's running out of the pocket and getting sacked, like kind of like how Mahomes was getting sacked by the Bucks last year. No, he was in the pocket. He didn't have time to get out. A lot of people criticize Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC Championship game. Watch the tape. The last couple of drives, he didn't have time either. The Rams defense was legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
A
mean,
lot of
based on what we've been seeing, he only had 2.4 seconds on average to throw the ball. That's, I mean, how are you going to look down a whole field in 2 seconds?
Exactly. I heard one of the words. That's a really good point that you made it there, Cribs, because I saw criticism by somebody, and it was on Facebook, and the person was like, Joe Burrow's got to do a better job at getting rid of the football. And I kind of was like, listen, I don't think that's a fair assessment. You got 2.4 seconds. You don't even have 3 seconds. You have 2.5 seconds to get rid of the football, right? If you get rid of the football in the pocket, you, one, risking the fact that you might throw an interception. Two, you're going to get probably intentional grounding, because you're going to throw it so fast that the receiver might not even be there, and you're going to get intentional grounding. So the better play was what Burrow was doing, was getting sacked. Live for the next play. That's what Burrow was doing. He wasn't trying to turn the ball over. He wasn't trying to, lose that situation. I mean, I have a stat here that they won the turnover game. They were +2 in the turnover game. In fact, the Bengals not only won the turnover game, they're the first team to lose a Super Bowl with a 2+ turnover advantage in 42 years.
God damn.
42 years. We haven't seen that happen. Guess who did it? It was the Rams against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. That's
Crazy
an
enough.
interesting, yeah, that's an interesting stat there. Huh.
Yeah. 42 years. I mean, like, we've never seen. So basically, the way it went down was, it's telling you, history tells us that the way this game went down, the Bengals right now should be NFL champions. But it just, you can't win the turnover game. And then not only that, but you got 2 turnovers, and you only caused 3 points in those 2 turnovers. I mean, bad situation there. Where was Joe Mixon? I don't understand where Joe Mixon, if you play fantasy football, you know that Joe Mixon is a top-notch fantasy running back. Top 5, maybe, if you're going to say top 10, arguably top 5 for sure. Joe Mixon is there. When we talk about running backs who are consistently doing well year in and year out, they might drop, past the top 5, but you picking them up. Where was he? Why was, Sam Pirine, playing more than Joe Mixon, especially on 3rd and shorts, especially on 4th and shorts? I get it that, maybe, and from what the explanation was, that the coach was saying, hey, we wanted to get, a pass blocking running back in the back. And to me, Pirine was the guy to go with. I get that. But if you're going to run it on 3rd and 1, you got to give the ball to Joe Mixon, who was torching the Rams defense when he had the football in his hands. And it wasn't like the Rams were stacking up the way they stacked up against San Francisco expecting the run. The Rams were playing defense saying, hey, they can throw or they can run. We can't sit here and act like they're just going to run the football. So if that's the case, 3rd and 1, you got to give the ball to Joe Mixon. I didn't see it happen. They lost. They were 0 for 2 on 4th downs, killed the Bengals. It killed the Bengals this game.
Yeah. And I was actually very surprised because, I mean, historically from the season happening, like, the Bengals would come out of the halftime and come out of their locker room to shut shit down third quarters. So it was quite surprising to see them come back, and then it just kind of everything flipped a switch. And obviously the Rams had a good adjustment to their defense, and they came back fucking also killing it. But it was an interesting game. I'm glad that it wasn't a blowout like we said. I those calls at the end were definitely controversial. The no calls were controversial. But still, it was fun to see. It was exciting to see a new future of the NFL. It was exciting to see someone that's not Tom Brady, that's not, Rodgers, that's not all these other people. So it was cool. Right. It was an exciting new era, if you will, for the NFL.
Now, and I get that a lot of people are being positive about Joe Burrow and stuff like that, but there's another interesting fact that a lot of people are skipping, is that the last 16 quarterbacks that have debuted in a Super Bowl and have lost have never gone back to a Super Bowl, and that is a scary stat. Because that tells you, and in that list is a pretty good amount of players. You're talking about players like Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair. You're talking about, quarterbacks even to this day, like Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo, who haven't been able to get back. That is a scary stat to have. A very, very scary stat to have. And if you're Joe Burrow, I mean, and a lot of people are like, hey, no, but he's this good. Hey, there's a quarterback called Dan Marino, who was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, who went to one Super Bowl. He lost and never came back. And it was in his second year, same year as Joe Burrow. So it is difficult to make the Super Bowl. And if I'm a Bengals fan who didn't make a Super Bowl since 1988, man, I'm hopeful, but that's a scary, scary, scary conference in the AFC. I mean, everything went right for the Bengals to win it this year, and it just, those opportunities just don't come along too often.
Agreed. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top next season, and obviously with like off-season moves and everything that's happening.
Right.
Can I talk a little bit more about OBJ? So let's just talk about how OBJ got in his pocket this season.
Right.
This man hit literally every incentive that the Rams gave him in his contract. So he made as much money as he possibly could in half a season where he barely played.
For sure. He had to learn the offense. He had to, and it's crazy that he did that, because he did that without making any 100-yard games.
Because the incentives were all like win, So, I mean, he won the championship. He won, then went off when they won the fucking Super Bowl. And he's the man is in his pocket. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly how much he made because I didn't really look at it. I don't like to remind myself how poor I am. But yeah, I was like, wow, this is insane for somebody that only played for, a part of a season. I won't even say half, because when did he end up leaving
the Browns?
The Browns.
I know it was the game. I think the first game he played was against the Niners. So I want to say it was like in the mid-season, like week 9, 10, 11, around there. It was the first time he really got out there on that field. Look, OBJ, I'm very torn about OBJ. I think I've made that very clear with you in previous conversations that we've had offline. I don't think that he is in his prime anymore.
No.
He's still dangerous, right? Because, those type of wide receivers that have experience can still beat you off the line if you don't know what you're doing. But I think he's seeing more years on his rearview mirror than in front, and I truly believe that. I think OBJ is going to make his money next year. He's going to go to a team. If the Rams I don't think the Rams are going to be able to afford him. So I think he's going to go off to a potential New England Patriots. He's going to go potentially to a team like maybe a Dolphins, maybe he goes to a team like Buffalo, who wants to go all in next year. You have to remember also these teams that are trying to go all in, like a Green Bay, San Francisco. These teams, are going to want to go in and bet everything they can. Other teams that come in mind: Carolina, Washington, if they're able to fix their quarterback situation, Philly. So
the Commanders.
The Commanders got that name.
Don't forget.
Jesus, poor Thurston. Shout out to Thurston who's watching this. I'm sure he's watching this. He had a rant the other day about his Commanders name and stuff. But anywho, Lord. I think and again, I don't know how long it's going to take for his ACL to usually takes about a year to get, healed up, 6-7 months, so he'll probably be back, in the mid-season of next year. And hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's good enough to get that money, because if he made his money for his next contract, he lost some money when he tore his ACL on that turf. And again, we'll rephrase it again. NFL, get rid of the turf. We're done. There's no need for this many ACL injuries. Their careers are already short as it is. Mm-hmm. Why shorten it more? If we really care about the game, why are we doing this to our players? Why are we destroying their knees? Like, it's just unfair. Even though I didn't want the Rams to win, I don't want people to tear their ACLs, and that is just a sad situation for Odell Beckham to go through. In the biggest game of his career.
Yeah,
sad.
I mean, it was quite heartbreaking, to be honest with you, when I saw it happen, and I had hope. Like, I was like, no, he's gonna come back. But once they started doing the replays, and I saw the buckle, and I was like, yeah, no, there's no way he's coming back. I want to mention something to you. So after the game, obviously, we're waiting to hear who's MVP, and one of my friends who was there watching the game with me mentioned that if he was Stafford, that he would retire this season. Like, now that, he's been in the league for this long, he made it through, he won his Super Bowl, he got his ring, he would retire out on top. What's your opinion on that? Like, because I wasn't sure. I was really like, I don't
Mhm.
know. I think Stafford he still got some juice in the tank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he could still make it happen. But then also the other side of me was like, but you know what? Like, it is true. He was with Detroit for a really long time, and it kind of
Mhm.
would make sense to go out on top. Who knows if the Rams are going to keep, what potential pieces of what team, So I don't know, but I was curious to hear your thoughts on it, see how you felt about that.
So I played high school football for 4 years. My final year, I won a Super Bowl, and it was the first Super Bowl of our school's history, right? And my school's been up since like 18 and change, right? So it's a big deal, and I didn't have the choice, right? I didn't have the choice to come back the following year. That was it. It was my senior year, and I was done. So I can tell you, it feels good to leave on top. It feels good because you leave and say, "Hey, I left champion." You couldn't take it away from me next year, nothing. Because a lot of players came back who were juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and they didn't have a good year the following year. So I know leaving on top is one of the best feelings, especially in your senior year. You said it. He has juice left in the tank. There's nothing that showed me any type of regression on Matthew Stafford's part at all during this season. He had, I think, almost 50 something touchdowns compared to Jared Goff's 20 something touchdowns, the previous year with the Rams. I think Stafford is an essential part of this offense. Without Stafford, I mean, somebody asked me during the game, if Stafford went to the Niners, would the Niners be here? I said, not only would the Niners be there, Niners would be the number one seed. The Niners would be champions. Like, there was no doubt in my mind. And that's not to disrespect Jimmy Garoppolo or anything like that, but Jimmy got hurt. Jimmy had a sprained thumb, had a sprained shoulder. Like, he just wasn't fully 100%. Those things happen. It could have happened to Stafford too. We might have not won the Super Bowl. Who knows? But Stafford is that type of quarterback with a better arm. His throws just look as good as it did, back in the day. I mean, that throw that he had against Tampa Bay to score the touchdown to get him into field goal range to win the game, it shows you that he's got more than a lot of juice left in him. If I'm Matthew Stafford, I'm coming back, but I don't think Stafford has that many years left in him. I think he has about 2 or 3 years before he says, I'm going to leave the game calmly and, especially, bearing a very nasty injury that could happen, to anybody. I see 2, 3 more years left in Stafford. I don't know how the Rams are going to be able to afford a team around him. I mean, they still got Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp is going to have a monster extension, after the year he just posted. Him and Deebo Samuel are the two wide receivers that I think are going to get paid in full when their rookie contracts are coming up. And they're probably extend before it's even up. So Cooper Kupp and Deebo is going to get a lot of money. So I don't know how the Rams are going to be able to keep a team like that around him. The running game for sure needs help. Cam Akers, horrible. He's had like an average of 2 yards per carry since coming back from his torn Achilles. Darrell Henderson can't seem to stay healthy. So all these questions are surrounding, and it could help the fact that I would say Stafford should retire at the top, but I think he will stay. I think, at the end of the day, if you still got it and you still enjoy it, like, why not make the money? He's going to make what, 17, 18, clear out more than that, $1 million a year. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll stay. I'll keep playing.
Yeah.
2 more 3 years, especially after coming off the championship.
That's what I thought. I was like, nah, man, I don't think that I mean, just at that at this point, like, I don't, well, maybe not so much, but I would say, like, all right, you're a Super Bowl champ, right? So like you got what everybody goes into the game for, like, you reached that goal, you got it. So now it's either, okay, I'm going to keep playing to make money and for fun, right? Because it's something that I enjoy, it's my lifelong career, and I'm going to keep playing to try to make it to the Super Bowl a second time, like,
For sure.
I feel like there's a lot less pressure once you've won one Super Bowl already. Like, he has
Right.
a ring, so at this point it's just like, all right, you decide, like, am I gonna just like cool it off, or am I gonna like keep going? I don't know, but either way, he has it in him to keep going. So
Hall of Famer? That's the
mm,
talk right now. Is he a Hall of Famer or not?
I mean, this season was good. I'd have to look back and see some, like, more stats on Detroit before kind of determining that. I'm not sure.
I, I'm gonna
I can't give a direct answer right now.
I hate the whole narrative about this, right? Because there's been a lot of back and forth. Richard Sherman went on, recently to talk about how he feels like it's a participation trophy at this point. Um,
Right.
and
Richard
there's
Sherman always has some shit to say. Sorry.
yeah, he does. There's always a back and forth, and I heard some arguments good on both sides. I heard because Richard Sherman was saying he's never won an All Pro, never been nominated, but you have to look at the quarterbacks that have won it: Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and in Matthew Stafford's career, Aaron Rodgers. So these are top. I mean, nobody's picking anybody else other than these quarterbacks. So it sucks that Stafford kind of falls a little bit under that. He's a great talent. He played in Detroit. It's not his fault that he got drafted to Detroit. You know what I mean? And he did as much as he could over there, but wasn't able to do it with Megatron, wasn't able to do it with anybody else other than the Rams, So I don't know if it's a Hall of Fame career. Um, I don't know if Eli Manning makes the Hall of Fame either, but I don't know. It's I'm sure they're gonna get it. We're not voting, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But if he does get it, congratulations to Stafford, man. And, at the end of the day, even though I didn't want the Rams to win, congratulations to Stafford. Congratulations to OBJ. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams fans who've been there when Los Angeles had the Rams before they left to St. Louis. Those are the real fans. Anybody else who's been rooting for them, after that, can kiss my ass. You're not a Rams fan. Go fuck a goat. I said it. That's my reckless thought of the day. Go fuck a goat.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And congratulations to Cooper Kupp, man. He
Yes,
came
Cooper
out,
Kupp.
he fucking
Hell of a
killed
year.
it. MVP, like
Unbelievable. Super Bowl MVP and MVP. Offensive player of the. I'm sorry, Super Bowl MVP and offensive player of the year. Shout outs to Cooper Kupp. What an amazing year. By the way, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers is MVP because Rodgers won it, but who did you have?
What, for this season?
Yeah, I went with Rodgers, but
yeah, no, I think I would have gone with Rodgers for this season. Okay. Brady, I love him, but
yeah, I mean, he didn't have as good of. I know that he thrown 30 something touchdowns, 39 touchdowns or something like that.
Always. I mean, it's kind of like it sucks. It kind of sucks because you have Brady on this pedestal where it's kind of like, all right, well, we know that you could hit 39 touchdowns a season. Like, what else can you do?
Right.
So
I'll tell you what the rumor is. The rumor is he's coming to San Francisco to one more year.
Bruh.
I'm all in, baby. Let's go, Brady. Come home. Come home. We'll take you home, baby.
I am not okay with Tom Brady signing with absolutely anybody else. Like, he needs to go. That's it. It's time. Bye.
If he ain't signing with San Francisco, stay home. I don't want to see you anymore, Tom. I love you,
He's
but
like
no,
the freaking. Oh my God. He's like what?
Jordan, everybody. Jordan, Brett Favre.
No.
I mean,
no. To me, he's like this guy from Game of Thrones.
Which one? There's so many.
the guy, the ice guy, the fucking.
Oh, the White Walkers.
Yes, but the king of them. What the fuck is his name?
Did he have a name? I don't know if he had a name.
I don't know, but that's fucking Tom Brady to me. Okay, like he's like I've just die already. Like stop coming back. Stop crossing the damn wall. I'm over
Thomas Brady, come home. Come to San Francisco. Get one before the window closes. If not, Trey, we believe in Trey. I know all the 49ers Twitter's going crazy. All right, so let's get to the other part of the Super Bowl that everybody talks about, no matter if you're a fan or not. You talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. You talk about, the performance that was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, surprise guest 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige was there with, Kendrick Lamar. I think it was the greatest halftime show ever. Cribsy, what did you think about this halftime show? Please give me some good stuff, please.
The show was great. Obviously, nostalgia, and I'm a huge hip hop fan, so it resonated with me in a very special way. But I will say that it felt really, really short compared to other Super Bowl halftime performances. You go back and you look at Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars played I don't know, what felt like a million songs during his Super Bowl performance here in Miami. Yeah. And I don't know, I just felt like Eminem's time was cut way too short. Obviously, it probably had something to do with the kneeling and all this other stuff that whatever we can get into if you want, but it felt really, really short. The show was
Hmm.
great, though. It was produced very well. I did see a lot of like backlash because, oh my God, like there was only black people there, only black performers, whatever, whatever. But it's like,
Yeah,
okay, but I mean, it's
conservatives.
yeah, but it's rap. Like it's a rap West Coast
Yeah,
anthem slide. Like what else were you gonna expect? You know what I'm saying? Like it just
absolutely.
whatever. But no, I think it was a great show. Shout out to Kendrick. Kendrick fucking kills it every time that
You
man gets
love
on
Kendrick. You love
any
him.
stage. It's just
Yeah,
because he
he's
just brings
good.
he brings the vibrations, you know, like he's just like he's never gonna give you a low level upside down performance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like he
he's gonna give
comes
you all.
in, yeah. Um 50 Cent shocked the hell out of me. I was very, very surprised when I saw him. The whole upside down thing, I was dying laughing because I literally felt like I was back in the 90s, like watching these videos on MTV hits, like,
Yeah.
you know. So that shit took me back. It was great to see. Oh God, when Snoop started doing the Crip walk, forget about it. I
I
was
mean, I was doing the crip
standing
walk as soon as I knew they were going on. I started crip walking. I didn't care. I was just like, I'm crip walking this whole halftime
this
show.
whole halftime show. I got up on the couch and I was like, yeah, let's go, you know. And it's funny because all of my friends, like, they're not a lot of them listen to rap. Like, they're very like
Mhm.
into Spanish music, urban music, and
Okay.
you know, all of that. So it was just me and my friend Candace. And it was just literally us like rapping Dre and like going at it, just me and her in the corner. And everybody's like, look at these fucking girls. Like, you
Yeah,
can,
going in.
they're like, somebody made a comment like, you can tell who likes the black guys. Like,
Oh
oh, get out of
no!
here.
Wow, wow. Let's not get
Yeah.
canceled real quick. Let's not Joe Rogan this episode.
I mean,
I'm
it's
just
okay.
kidding.
People gonna hate. People gonna hate, you know, but nah, I mean, I've always been a fan of hip hop. Hip hop's been
Yeah,
like,
man,
you know, I mean, it's poetry. It's literally poetry
for sure.
with rhythm, you know.
And
So
we've talked a lot about hip hop and stuff like that. I know. So Cribs is more new school hip hop than I am. I'm more old school. I don't like more of the newer hip hop that is out now. Shoot me, that's fine. But it is what it is. People evolve with their musical tastes and their musical palettes. But me and Cribs always talk about it. And it's always good to talk hip hop with Cribs because she is an old soul. So I love that about you. But I will say this was so good for me. And my friend is now calling me what did he call me? He gave me a new nickname. He was like, he's calling me Memoir. He's calling me Memoir because he's like, dude, you when you describe things that happened to you when you were younger, like you describe them with such a like it's almost like I give you the senses, the taste, the smell, the touch, all that stuff. And when it comes to Dre and Snoop, they came into a point in my life that I was trying to become very popular. I was like, trying to fit in middle school and try to like, get my voice. I was a very shy kid. Believe it or not, I was extremely shy. I always hid behind my parents. Every time I met someone, it was like, say hi, and I would hide behind their legs. Like I was extremely shy. But something happened, and I don't know if it was like my parents' divorce happened where I kind of like broke out of my shell, out of anger, out of rebellious nature. I don't know what it was, but I started like, getting in trouble, trying to make people laugh. So in school, we had this thing called Say What Karaoke. I don't know if you remember that show on MTV. That probably tells me my age, when I talk about Say What Karaoke. But that was a show on MTV that you would go on and you would karaoke a song, right? So they did a competition like that at my middle school, and me and my boy Wilson, we decided that we wanted to do Snoop and Dre's "Nothing But a G Thing," and we're over here trying to download on Napster the clean version because all we kept getting was the dirty version, right, with all the
right.
swears. And I'm like, oh my god, we can't do this. We can't put that on the school. They'll kill us. We're in sixth grade or whatever, or eighth grade, whatever grade I was in. So we started laughing, and we were just like, let's just do the instrumental. And we got the instrumental, and we learned the lyrics like hand by hand, and then we obviously just changed the bad words into like another word to like make it fit. Cribs, when I tell you we had the place rocking, especially when Snoop's, capital S, so yes, some fresh and double OP part comes up, and I had it down packed. I I hit that flow and I remember the place erupting. And I honestly thought I could do this for the rest of my life. This is what I want. I want this energy. I want this, reciprocate that energy. I love public speaking because of this. So Snoop and Dre hits a soft spot in my heart, especially when they came out. They did next episode. I mean, this was my smoking weed days, man. Chronic 2001. I was smoking weed to this album left and right. Yes, so I loved it. It's funny because my mom was like, "Oh, is it's your birthday?" Because she doesn't know English that well, so she doesn't know names. So she's like, "Is your birthday coming on today?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think he's gonna 50 Cent's not in the show." And then he comes up and starts doing, the song. And I was like, "I told you he was coming." I was like, "Damn, my mom remembers 50 Cent." Just doesn't remember the name, but it was hilarious. Great halftime show. I thought it was perfect. To me, it says you don't need flying horses. You don't need to throw yourself off, the top of a roof of a stadium to make a halftime show. This is what it's all about. I nominate Dr. Dre, Snoop, and the rest of the gang as the number one halftime show of all time. Period.
Yeah, I think it was a great show. I think that they need to all go on tour together.
Yes.
I think they need to make this happen for the people, for the people. Um, but no, it was amazing. It was amazing. And just seeing everybody from like the West Coast come together, and it was kind of
Right.
like generation through generation, because we know that like, with Dre and Snoop, when Kendrick came out and they kind of like handed him the throne of like the West
West
Coast,
Coast. Yeah.
rapper king. And it was just nice to see. It was very, for someone who's like lived through it, who's seen
Right.
everything change in hip hop. It was great. Um, Mary J. Blige killed it. She's amazing. She is, one of the greatest R&B singers out there. So, and don't hate. I don't even want to hear. I don't even want to hear what you're gonna say.
Graves, you're killing me with Mary J.
She,
Blige.
she's amazing. Her vocals were on fucking point. She's great. She's
I'm not
great.
saying she's not a good singer. I just never liked her music. I don't know. I've always felt this way about Mary J. Blige, and again, people are gonna hate me. That's an unpopular opinion, but I always felt like she was better as like a feature, with Method Man, with Jay-Z. Like, all
Sure,
right,
sure.
give me Mary J. Blige, but and some of the old school songs I could deal with, but I here's a question. Somebody asked it the other day to me. He said, do you feel like Mary J. Blige was on there much longer than everybody else? Because it felt like she was there longer than most people on the mic.
I mean, she did. To be fair, she probably could have used like other songs. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
like
The first
better,
one wasn't so bad. What
better.
was the first one? The Let's Get It Crump. Right, that one. Like that wasn't so bad. But then the second one, she started singing, and I was like,
Like, yeah,
ah.
but that's the thing with her is like, unless you're like an actual real Mary J. Blige fan, like you won't know. But she's like all about her vocals, So like she'll stand there and she'll be one of those people that's like dragging out a note for like,
Right.
as long as she can until she's out of breath. And it's either you like that or you don't like that.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
mean, a lot of people, obviously you don't. But
it killed the
anyways, it
mood.
was
It killed
great.
the
It was
mood. I
great.
mean, I don't know about you, Cribs. I was crip walking until she came up on stage, and even the first song, I was still kind of jamming. And then the second one, when she started singing, I lost my crip walk in me. My knees felt a little bit, relieved that I wasn't crip walking anymore.
You probably
Um,
tore an ACL.
I was almost torn ACL. I almost became OBJ, and tore an ACL there. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, I respect Mary J. Blige. I think she's done her thing. I think she deserves the credit. I'm not saying that. Just not the biggest fan of her. Um, let's move on to 50 Cent, who was upside down, right? Charlotte's Web style, upside down, looking like Spider-Man. I loved it. Brought me back to the days. And my boy said that it looked like the camera was like reversed and not him. And I was like, no, the necklace is like about to
It's
slap his
down.
face.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. 50 did that, but something I kind of want to bring up. A lot of people have been saying, man, 50 been eating some of those, cheeseburgers a little bit too much. It look like, inflation has gone up on 50 Cent.
I
What you
don't
think
know.
about that?
He's on that ocho cinco diet.
I ain't even mad at 50 though, because you know what? If anybody could lose the weight like this, it's that man.
It
So
doesn't, like, who fucking cares how the guy looks? Like, first of all, and I'm gonna like be real, like
mhm.
real. Nobody looks the way that they did back in '01 when that song hit the fucking radio.
50
None
was
of none of
young.
us. None of us.
None
Okay,
of
because
us.
I don't look like that anymore. You don't look like that. He don't look.
Mhm.
Nobody look like that anymore. Okay,
Right.
so why they hating on 50? Like, let the man. He got his money up. He's been freaking producing freaking shows that like people are crying and changing their
Killing it.
lives for. He's done amazing. Like, listen, let the guy keep getting his money up. If anything, y'all should be happy that he even showed up.
I agree. I agree 100%. I look, and again, it's not like he's that big. I mean, Jesus, already he might have gotten a little chunkier, but he still looks like in good shape. I mean, like, I don't know
He
what the
still
what's
got
up with the,
muscles.
yeah, I
Like,
don't know what's up with the fat shaming, man. Like, I was kind of weirded out by it. A lot of people have just been, talking a lot. And like you said, he was younger. He was like in his early 20s. I mean, a lot of us, at that age, could attest that you were a lot thinner or whatever the case may be. Some people go in the opposite way. They were bigger and they got, so you're right. Everybody's body changes. Like, it's not a big deal. The guy's 40 something years old now. Shout outs to 50, man. That was awesome that he came out and did that performance. They just added like that little bit of extra juice to it. So I thought it was great. Eminem came out and did Lose Yourself, which I thought was dope as hell. I was like, man, this is amazing, man. Like, I don't know if you thought about this, but I had some time to think about this, right? Check this out. These guys performed music that was being performed in that early 2000 time, right? 2001, 2002. If you remember, that was also the time when like Britney Spears and NSYNC and Christina Aguilera was out and all that stuff. And Eminem had that war with them, right? And I just thought it was funny because at that time, if you remember, the Ravens had a Super Bowl against the Raiders, I think it was. There, or I don't know who, yeah, I think there was that performance where Nelly was there in sync. It was like an MTV 2000 type of show, right? Nelly's, Christina Aguilera in sync, all that, whatever. And I just thought it was funny because at the time, I don't think any one of us could have ever imagined that Eminem, with the product that he was pushing, Dre with the product that he was pushing, Snoop, all of those people with the product they were pushing, 2022, they'd be performing on a Super Bowl stage the same way that, Britney and all of them at the time when they were in their moment of glory was performing the Super Bowl. I thought that was awesome. That was my getaway, takeaway from that situation. So,
yeah. No, a thousand
awesome.
percent. And how many people tried to freaking cancel Eminem? How many people have tried to cancel Eminem now because of his
Yeah,
music back then? Like, if he's the
for
same
sure.
person, like, he's
No.
not, But I mean, it is what it is. He deserved to be there. I'm happy
Yeah,
that he was there. We can talk a little bit about the fact that, the NFL tried to tell them what they could say and what they couldn't say and what they could do and couldn't do. And both Dr. Dre and Eminem said a big F you and did whatever they wanted to. So shout outs to them
for sure.
for always being, their
True to
realist,
themselves.
yeah, their
Yeah.
realist selves. And yeah, props.
One last takeaway. Shout out to Dre for hitting a couple of notes of "I Ain't Mad at You" by Tupac, which I thought, if a lot of people didn't catch that, but when he did that, I I got scared because I didn't want to see a Tupac hologram. I felt like, I didn't want to see it. I felt like it was not the right moment to do a Tupac hologram. And I know a lot of people were asking for it. So I thought it was just nice and subtle. Hitting a couple of those little piano notes of "I Ain't Mad at You" was enough. And he moves on. It was almost like a, "Hey, Tupac, we didn't forget about you."
Tribute. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. And it was, if you're a fan, you know about that, and that was it. So that's the way we're gonna close that out, that halftime show, which was amazing and stuff like that. So that recaps the Super Bowl, man. I mean, we went 48 minutes deep on this Super Bowl. And we have an hour show. So I mean, hey, it was a hell of a week. But something that also happened the following day was
Valentine's
Valentine's Day,
Day.
right? So happy Valentine's Day or Single Awareness Day, whichever one you prefer to choose. I mean, Cribs.
What did I do? Funny. I had a it was a quite an interesting Valentine's Day. I did
Uh-huh.
absolutely nothing.
Uh-huh.
I had a self-care, self-love day for myself.
Love that.
I am currently not seeing anyone or dating anyone or any of that stuff. There's just way too much going on in my life for that. And yeah, I turned on a fucking candle. I turned on TV. I actually started watching a new show on Netflix. It's called
Ooh,
Sweet Magnolia.
how is
Um,
that?
it's a great show. I finished it already.
Oh
So, I
wow,
mean,
okay.
that tells you that. Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I did. That was really my Valentine's Day. I got myself a little bottle of wine, drank a little wine by myself, turned on the candle, and just vibed.
Dope. That's awesome. I didn't do nothing but work. So that's okay. I am also single, not seeing anybody. Well, yeah, let's leave that for that. uh,
Looking like the Rock. I'm trying to like, you know,
listen, it's weird. It's fun. It's interesting. You know what I'm going through as far as the relationship thing. But I'm at an age that I'm like, I know what it is. I'm single. That's what it is. I'm single, right? Let's not put the little like dot that says it's complicated. Let's not do that. I'm single. That's what it is. Am I talking to a couple girls? Yeah, just kind of getting to know them. Nothing crazy. When I go on vacations, I've done my thing as well. Hook up with people I meet and stuff like that, which is all good and all dandy. But for Valentine's Day, I did nothing. I worked. I chilled. I had a good time. I drive for a company, so I have a second job. I drive for a company named Alto, and I drove a couple of couples to their restaurants and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. It was nice to see. Um, it was
nice to see people in love.
yeah, it
All
was
my
not.
friends
It's
were like
nice.
posting on social media, like all their partners and their couples and their people.
Yeah,
And I was just like, wow, like I am probably the most single that I've ever been in my whole entire life. Like
right. I mean,
it
you're
was,
really young though. Still, I mean, you're still really young. So
am I though? Oh,
yeah, yeah, you still are, man.
well,
Listen, man, 30, what is it, 40 is the new 30, so it's like you're not there yet, nowhere near it. So you have a lot of time. You have like about four more World Cups before you reach 40. So always think of it that way. That makes you feel a lot better. But no, I mean, it's nice to see couples. I think that a lot of us hate on the whole like Valentine's Day. So, but if you're in a relationship, you do dedicate that day, to your significant other, and that person dedicates it to you, and it's like it's nice. It's a nice little thing.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because of
Mm,
the way I am, but I've never like. First of all, I don't even remember anniversaries. Like I'm so bad at dates. I'm so bad at like any of that stuff. And then for Valentine's Day, I've always thought that it's like the biggest hallmark, like
it's a scam. It's a scam. We'll
holiday
call it
that's
it. Yeah.
out there. So I've never really like cared to do anything on Valentine's Day. I've never been like, I'm also not like a normal girl where it's like, oh my god, yes, take me out, I want to go to dinner or whatever. Like not my style, not my thing. um
You're more of like, let's go to a game. Let's go watch the Heat play. Like,
Facts,
for
facts,
sure.
like
We'll eat
that's the
there.
way to my heart. We'll eat over there, yeah, like grab drinks at the bar,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
like take me to a
That's the stuff.
sports bar, give me some fucking
Cribs.
chicken sliders. And
You see what you're doing there, Cribs? I'm telling the people right now. I'm gonna get a bunch of text messages and emails. Yo, what's up with this girl? Da, 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 da. I'll take it to a game. Watch.
hey man, take me to any game you want.
Yeah. Continue. Move on. Move on.
I
Continue.
will not wear any other team's jerseys that are not my own team. That is
I'm mad at
my
that.
that is
That's
my
the only
only
condition.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Hey,
I
read the
will
fine
not
print.
support.
Read
I
the fine
um
print.
I once was talking to this guy who was a Jets fan. Let's
Ooh.
just yeah, exactly. Let's just say that was a bad start from the beginning, but um and it was his birthday. His birthday was coming up, and so I was like, you know what, like let me take him to the game. So I took him to the Jets and Dolphins game, and yeah, it was probably like the most terrible idea that I ever had, because we were just
Oh
not
man.
like having it. Like you know me, I'm like a big in your face kind of like
You are. Why are
person.
you like that?
Especially if I'm at a game, I'm out there like screaming. I'm like,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, he was not having it. It's safe to say the Jets lost, and I was like all up in the face. And yeah, no,
Wow. No
I don't
humility for Cribs.
don't think I can date someone that supports another team.
I'm mad at you. Look, I've dated plenty of people that have been supportive of other teams, especially the New England Patriots. I don't know. That's my forte. Date people that like the Patriots. Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world, but it's okay. You know what's cool about it is, I think love overtakes where to the point that it's like, I hope your team wins so you could be happy. But deep down, I'm like, ugh. And I'm sure that they feel the same way about me and stuff like that with my Niners and stuff. It's like, I hope you win so you're happy, but in reality, I could care less, kind of thing. And it's okay. That's the way you kind of balance that out.
Balance that, yeah. Not for I. Anyways, moving on. What about you? What are your stories for Valentine's Day? Like, I honestly, from like the top of my head, cannot
Mhm.
remember any date that I've had on Valentine's Day
Mm.
where it's been like, significant, where I'm like, oh my God, this was the best. Like none of that.
So I consider myself a hopeless romantic. And I'm very on and off. I could be some. There's times that, man, I know I wow women. Like I know that women are like, holy shit, this guy is everything and more. And then there's times that I could be cold and just like empty, and it's like, yo, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with this guy? So I'm on. I've been on both sides of it. You know what I mean? But in my earlier years, I think I was more on the romantic side. I think I've gotten cold throughout the years, but I try to work on that, all the time because I'm like, hey, I don't want to blame my past traumas on new people. It's not fair to them, and I wouldn't want them to do the same to me. So when I was younger, I can remember this was probably the best Valentine's I gave. I was in my first ever long distance relationship. It was a girl that I knew for years because she lived in the same state, but she was going to school in Orlando, and I was going to school as well. And I ended up finding out that for the weekend of Valentine's, the teacher wasn't going to be there. So we were good to go, kind of thing. I was good to go on a Thursday, and I didn't go to school Friday. So I was like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I can come back Monday. I was like planning it, I was thinking in my head. So I wanted to surprise her. I wanted to go to Orlando, show up at her house, and be there, right? So the first thing I had to do was get her address. So I like contacted her roommate, and the roommate gave me the address. And then I decided to do these little like games, like little mini games. And it was like little puzzles and almost kind of like what is it? Those like trying to think of the name of it, but little like brain teasers kind of thing, And like every time she would get something right, she'd get like a
Like a
part of
clue.
like a clue, right? And it was like a fill in the blank, almost like a hangman type of thing, right? And like little by little, she was putting up the letters. So at one point, when I was flying out, it's a 3-hour flight from Rhode Island to Miami or to Orlando. I'm sorry. I'm flying out, and I told her, I was like, hey, I got to take a test, so I'm not gonna have my phone for the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours or whatever, like some lie like that. She's like, okay, no problem. She totally clueless. So I fly out, I get there, I get the car rental, and I'm driving to her house. And the last clue was supposed to hit like literally like 2 minutes before I get there. So I had gotten there and she still hadn't figured out the last clue. And when she finally figures it out, she calls me. She's like, and I was already outside her apartment. And she
Oh.
calls me. She's like, you are not here. And I'm like, open the door. And she opened the door. It was a big surprise. She was extremely happy. She started crying. I was like, relax, because I don't like to see the tears on girls. I'm like, relax. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just here to spend the weekend with you. And we had a great weekend. Took her out to eat. We watched movies. I mean, we did everything that a couple would do when they're together. But since it was a long distance relationship, we had some time to make up. So that was the best gift I've ever made. I won't probably ever do something like that again.
Yeah, how much
Especially
work was that?
that was a lot. It took a lot. It took a lot because I had to come up with these brain teasers. And then I'm not saying she wasn't smart, but she had a hard time getting some of these answers that I'm like, damn, do I have to give you clues on figuring this out? Oh my God. So whatever. But it was fun. It was ultimately fun. That was probably my best gift. Other gifts, I mean, I've, you know, given little stuff here and there. Every Valentine's you try to, up one, but
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. It's funny because I was talking to one of my best friends today, and I was telling her how, like, last Valentine's Day, I was kind of sort of in a situationship with someone, and
what
we
is
had.
a situationship? Hold on, let me interrupt you. What the hell is that? A situationship?
It's
Because you
like,
you you throw
because
that a
I say
lot.
that a lot.
Yeah, you throw that a lot. So I need to know
So I think everybody has like a different opinion on it, but I'll give you like my thing. So
Mhm.
I've dating in Miami, I've come to a lot of like there's been a lot of encounters that I've had where like you're talking to someone or you're dating someone and they want to be treated like they're in a relationship, but they won't actually commit to a relationship.
Okay.
So they got you out here dating, they got you out here buying you stuff, you buying them stuff, you're going out, you're spending time, you're coming home, you're watching movies, you're whatever, doing all the stuff that like
Would do.
couples would do
Mhm.
without actually giving you the title because either one, they don't want to commit, past traumas,
Oh,
you say you're not ready, like there whatever, plenty of reasons why people don't really get to that
yeah.
labeling part.
Mhm.
But so I call it a situationship because at the end of the day, you're still in a ship, like it's not a relationship per se, but
Yeah,
you're in a
in a
ship
ship.
because you're doing what a couple would be doing without
Right.
actually being a couple. So I call it a
Interesting.
situationship. Like you get stuck in this situationship where you're like, okay, we're kind of dating, but we're not
Uh-huh.
dating, and whatever. So that's what that is for me.
So that's
And
that. So you were in this situationship last year.
yes, and I remember us like we were trying to take that further step to like
Mhm.
be in a more exclusive kind of dating situation. And one of the things that we had discussed was like, okay, like let's give each other gifts for Valentine's Day.
So you
And
discussed it. You didn't even just say, let's just do it. No, you had to discuss this
yeah,
first.
like we sat down and we talked about it. We were like, look, like this is where we're at now, but like this is where we want to be. And like,
Mhm.
how do we get there? And then one of the things was like, well, Valentine's Day is coming up. One of the ways that we can start moving forward from that is like, let's gift a little something for each other for Valentine's Day, so we know like where we stand. Um, and it was sweet because like, he gave me like a bunch of candy. I'm like, I love candy. He gave me like a bunch of candy and this little like funk pop thing, like the
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Funko
Love
Pops
those.
thingies. Yeah, super cute. Um, but yeah, and I was telling my best friend about it. I was like, bro, like I was in my feelings yesterday because I was like, dang, like I didn't get anything this Valentine's Day. Um, but yeah, I've never done like a whole big date thing. Like it's always been just like little
Yeah.
things. I don't know, maybe it's just because the way I am. I also don't like extravagant kind of like if somebody were to do something like that to me, like this whole like, oh, find
Visiting
out
you.
clues and
Uh-huh.
oh no, first of all, don't you ever fucking visit me without telling me you're coming to visit me. I will kick you out of my goddamn house.
Even if it's a long distance
I,
relationship.
I don't give a no, absolutely
No,
not.
I think no, Chris. I think you're bullshitting me. I think you'd be a little bit like that is very sweet, but you need to get a hotel probably the first night, and then we can figure something out
Yeah.
afterwards. I don't
Yeah.
think you would kick them out.
No, sure, sure. I mean, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Like, come in, let's
Let's figure
have
this out.
dinner, but
Yeah.
you're gonna definitely have to get a hotel for like the next 3 days that
But
you're
your
here.
situation is different. I mean, she was in living with roommates and stuff. I'm sure if that was you wouldn't if you were
No.
living with roommates at a school. No.
No, first of all, my space is
Wow.
super sacred, man. Like I just, like not anybody can get into this vibe.
Let me ask you
It's
this though, because you're out of college. Did you feel the same way like that when you were in college?
all the time.
Okay, so you're safe.
Yeah.
Your space is your safe space.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
that's
all
fine.
the time. I
Okay.
think it has a lot to do with my zodiac sign. Like
Yeah.
with me being a Cancer, I'm very like territorial and homey. And like,
Mhm.
listen, not even my mom comes into my place. Like I'm like,
Wow. Gotcha. Hey man. Yeah. So I may not get that many emails then. This week. I'm just kidding. Um. No.
hey
It's.
man, respect boundaries. People
I
just
hear
gotta
you.
respect
People got
boundaries.
to respect boundaries. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Um. But I think for me, the reason I'm very big on like big stuff is or extravagant stuff, as you would like to say, is because I was in a couple long distance relationships. Being from Rhode Island and being in living in Miami and stuff like that, I've just had a lot of friendships that turn into those relationships and stuff like that.
How many
And
long distance relationships have you been in?
three, I've had three, and they were all in the row because it just fell into place. Like each one, like, and if people know, like people that know the story, just know that it wasn't like I was intending to just continue to get to the next person. It just happened. Especially because I visit a lot of friends, and then you see a girl that you've known for years, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we should hang out, and then it just turns into something else. And then I think also the distance does it helps entice that situation because you're like, well, I'm not really tied into that person because they're all the way in Miami, so I don't got to worry about it, right? But then you go on one vacation, and then all of a sudden feelings start erupting, and then all of a sudden it turns into a year, 2 years, and you're just like, oh, this is real.
Insane. What's
Um,
the longest like time span that you've been in a long distance relationship? Like
so
what's
it's probably
the
the last one. The last one that I was in, we were on and off since 2014. So we had bumped. We knew each other for years because especially because I was a friend of her brothers, but we kind of like saw each other in Brazil for the World Cup because she went, she's Colombian, so she went to one of the games and I saw her there. And I'm chilling with her brother since I know her brother and stuff like that. And the family, they know me since I was a kid. So it was just one of those things where it was just like she was there and it was like, we're all hanging out. And then since there wasn't many of us at our age hanging out, she was kind of like with us. And then it went to that. Then, I showed up to Rhode Island like randomly, and it's just so happened that that same kid was having a baby shower. So I show up to the baby shower, and she's there, and it was kind of like, what are you doing after this? We're gonna go party, and then it just starts rolling. Like, just, it's something that I wasn't going in saying, yo, I'm gonna try to holla at her or anything like that. And I think she would be the same way and say I wasn't trying to, like, it was just a fun thing because he would come for a weekend and you chill, and then you see what happens, type of thing. And yeah, so that's probably my longest one. That's definitely my longest one.
So
And
how
we
long
just,
was that?
I mean, if
Like,
we're on and off,
because
I mean,
when did you officially end it?
we officially ended it right before COVID. Literally, like, COVID was about to, like it was like the gates were about to
So
open
it's
of,
like
like,
that's like five
yeah,
years. That's
yeah,
five
give or
years,
take,
right?
on and
20,
off. Yeah,
yeah.
give or take. Yeah, give or take. About, we were on and off. We were in that situationship, like you were saying. Now that you kind of, like, defined it, we were like in that situation for a little bit because it was like, I was here, she was there, and that's understandable. It's very difficult to just jump into a long distance relationship. I had just come off two, so it's not something that you could just be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I want a third one. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, are we gonna do this? We're gonna not. And I think she was kind of waiting for me to lead since I already had the experience of doing long distance,
Mhm.
and I wasn't used to that because I was more like a lot of the girls just kind of fall. I don't want to say fall in my lap. That sounds really bad, but I'm just saying they always make the initiative. I guess the initiative is be like, yo, so what are we? What are we doing? And this and that. So it's always been like kind of easy for me. Where she was a little different, where it was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. You lead the way. Like, I don't know what the fuck a long distance relationship entitled. So that was a little bit different, with her and stuff like that. Maybe that's why it lasted so long. But ultimately, I've always said this, because a lot of people would be like, oh, amor de lejos es un amor de pendejos,
Amor de
like.
pendejos.
So for those that don't speak Spanish, it's like, long distance love is for idiots, because it just never works out in reality. But I've always told people that don't knock the hustle on the long distance relationship. What's gonna either win it or lose it is the ending, because the ending is gonna be, all right, who's moving? You coming here or am I going there? And if you can come up to that, if you can pass that bridge, it works. But that's the final step. That's the end all be all. It's the, are we really serious about this? Because you're gonna have to make a life-changing event, and that's
Mhm.
leaving wherever you at to make this happen. So that's ultimately, what was our demise. Was I didn't want to go back to Rhode Island. And I love my people in Rhode Island, but I didn't want to go back, to the cold and to the everything that just reminded me of, like, who I was 11 years ago. And she didn't want to move to Miami because she has her family there. Totally respect that. We ended it in good terms. We're adults about it. We're still friends. So if she's watching this, she can, definitely appreciate what I'm saying. Like, we ended it in good terms, and honestly, that's the most adult thing that I've ever done, and I feel like that was a great thing that we did. And I'm very happy that we ended it that way. So
I like
it is
that.
what it is. Yeah. I
I
will say this. I will
yeah.
say this before you get into the next thing. I did a nice little Valentine's with her one time. We did a trip to Washington D.C. for the whole Valentine's weekend, and I had no gift. I had no gift. Cribs, I was like, is this the gift? Me taking her to DC? Is this really the gift? Like, am I really supposed to give also something like, materialistic? So I ended up going on Groupon, and I found out that they were doing a whole concert in DC. It was Avant, Next, Genuine, and Tyrese. It was an R&B night, and I ended up getting the tickets, and I was like, happy Valentine's Day. And we went, and we
Ooh,
had
I
a
love
blast.
that. I
Yeah,
love
huge
that.
blast. She's a huge R&B girl, so we had a blast, and we had a great time. We had, like, I want to say, like, the seventh row on the floor. It was great. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, sometimes you got to
That'd be
improvise.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun, definitely. Oh, I'm a big concerts person too. I love going to concerts.
Look at that. Look at her putting her plug in. Guys, take out Cribs to either a concert or a sporting event.
What's up? Just kidding. No, but honestly, I do have a lot going on. I did want to get into, I just wanted to read a couple comments that people left.
Oh, yeah, please.
That way we can close it out on a good note. So
Yeah.
someone, I'm gonna assume this is one of your friends because they wrote, she's more entertaining than Walter.
Oh, man, that's going to piss Walter off. I love my boy Walt. Shout outs to him.
I've never met Walter,
But you know about him.
but I have seen a million and one memes of Walter and pictures of Duke and I don't know what other team. I can't remember what other
North
teams,
Carolina.
Oh,
North
and
Carolina.
okay, and North
Yeah.
Carolina, on Alex's page. So Walter, I don't know you, but yeah, I'm sorry that your big head is always used on these memes. Like it's
He's
just
an
all over
awesome
the
guy.
place.
That's my boy Walter, man. Shout outs to him, man. I love my boy Salty Walty. Shout outs to him.
So I don't know who that was. Their screen name is House of Den. So shout out to House of Den.
Oh, word, yes. I think I know who that
Um,
is. Shout outs to him.
and then somebody, Carlos, I don't want to say his last name, but I mean, it's public. So I mean, it doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to read what he wrote. So he wrote, you got to have horchata at a Super Bowl party. Fuck your party if it doesn't have horchata.
Horchata, yes. You know what that is?
No. So listen to this. So when I was reading the comment, I was like, this is interesting. Like, what the fuck is this? Let me Google it. So I Googled it.
You don't know?
And listen. And so on Google, it says, in Spain, it is made with soaked, ground, and sweetened tiger nuts.
Whoa, no, that is not. Whoa, time out. Whoa. Flag on the play.
That is what Wiki says. And I was just like, what?
That's a
That's
flag.
interesting.
That is not what horchata is. Horchata is a Central American based drink. I've drank it from Guatemalans before. They were the ones that brought me into that life. I think it's made out of rice and cinnamon and some other stuff. And
So like an eggnog.
it's like an eggnog, and it's just so good. And I know the Mexicans do it because I've had it in Mexican restaurants. It's a very Central American drink. It's very popular. And I love horchata. Horchata is one of those bomb drinks, but not in the Super Bowl party. I don't know what Carlos is thinking. That's my boy Carlos from Colombia. Shout outs to him. He lived in the States for a lot of years, and he knows damn well ain't nobody having horchata at their Super Bowl party. So he's just busting balls there.
That was hilarious. When I read that on Wiki, I was like, tiger nuts. All right. Like, what are we doing? Where are
Yeah,
you from?
let's not get canceled by PETA anytime soon either. So
Oh man. So yeah, shout out to people who left comments and listened and gave us feedback and yeah, for supporting us. I feel like
yeah.
we had a good number of views for our first episode. So
Yeah, a little under 100.
89, yeah.
There you go.
Wow,
Yeah,
look at us.
Yeah, the first show, that's amazing. That means that a lot of people are supportive and want to see us succeed and stuff like that. And I'm very thankful, very humbled by that. I got a lot of text messages from close friends, wishing me the best of luck with this endeavor. And honestly, it's fun. We're doing this for fun because we like doing this, and we felt like maybe together we can do something nice and have a good time. And so to see everybody give support, man. Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Truly humble. It's really humble. You got this girl with a wisdom tooth taken out just a couple of days ago, and she's over here. I'm sure you're probably dead inside.
Yeah. No, but the good thing is that it hasn't like swelled as much
Yeah.
as So I was like, you know what? I can be on camera and kind of still look a little cute. So
Well, Cribs, you got the nice little thick cheeks over here, so you can't really tell. You'll be fine.
I know my big ass cheeks. But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. Follow us on IG, Reckless Thoughts Podcast.
We got to get a Twitter handle for that too.
Yeah, I was literally about to be like, you know what? We don't have a Twitter yet, so let me get on that. I got y'all. Don't worry. Cool. Just don't mind all our crazy tweets because it's definitely gonna be reckless once we get on Twitter. The Twitter world don't stop.
Yeah, don't look back. Just let's go forward. Let's go forward. 2022. Season's over. Everybody's undefeated. Congratulations. Everybody's undefeated. We're all 0-0, baby. Fuck the Rams.
What else? So what do you think our next episode is going to be about? What are we going to talk about?
We didn't really get to talk about a lot of other stuff for Valentine's. We know we wrapped up a lot with the Super Bowl, but we could talk about anything. We'll probably touch base and see if we want to talk about certain things. But I don't know. Maybe we could talk about the NBA with what's happening. Right now with All-Star Weekend coming up.
Oh yes.
So we could maybe touch base a little bit on that and see where our teams are currently in the standings and what we think is going to happen with LeBron and all that and KD, Harden. Trades.
I do want to mention one other thing for you, and this is more on the entertainment side. So, did you see the Kanye documentary that dropped on Netflix?
I haven't seen it, and I know me and you are mixed on Kanye West. I'm a huge old Kanye West fan.
You have to see this.
I know. I have to see it, and I have to see it. It's because it's that's the Kanye I fell in love with, and who I thought was going to take us into the next generation. And I know a lot of people are like, "Well, he did. He still is," and I know that, but
just keep an open mind. But you have to see it, and then we got to talk about it
sure.
on here because it's not what I expected, but it is definitely eye opening. I don't know, and obviously, I got a big soft spot for Kanye, so
You do.
it's we got to talk about it. We
I
got to
did.
talk about it.
I had a bad breakup with Kanye, but all right. Well, we'll definitely get into it. Cribs, it was fun. AK Reckless Thoughts podcast, man. I can't get enough of it. I love it. We'll see you next week.
We're
Nothing
good.
else to say. Let's go.